back on the Bossman, short friend of the show, Coach Dan Engelstad, Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers out of NEC. Coach, good to talk to you again, my brother. How have you been, man?
It's always good to visit and see you, and we're doing the best we can in these crazy circumstances. It's crazy for everybody, but I'm blessed. I got a beautiful family, and I got a great team this year. That's a resilient team, and you need that. You need those characteristics during a pandemic where it's a stop and go and figuring it out on the fly. So, we're excited about our group, and we're looking forward to making this final push. I can't believe it's almost February, and we're here at the end stretch.
You only play 11 games. That's so weird because, by this time you already have your rhythm, you guys kind of have the rotations down. You already have you guys getting ready to peak in February and March. And now you still kind of work through some things and grow as you head into March now with a month ago.
Yeah, it's almost like you're just getting started. And then, for us, it's been a tough year in a couple regards. We've lost a couple guys. We had a guy decide to opt out of the season. That was our starting backcourt. And we've had a couple guys get injured. And when you have that, you try to fill some pieces on the fly. But, we do have a really good core here. And we do have what it takes to make a push here in February and hopefully into March. We like our group and, looking forward to keep getting better. But, even this week, we were supposed to play yesterday and Tuesday, and the opponent actually had a false positive, and so they couldn't play the game. And that's kind of what we've told the guys from the beginning is just got to be flexible and control what you can and just try to string together good days and good practices. And, when you get that opportunity to compete, never take it for granted because you don't know when those opportunities come.
Let me ask you about March. It was my birthday, March 11th, when everything kind of shut down, right? I was at the Hawks Knicks game that night. I got a text saying the season was suspended. So from March 11th on, I haven't saw my staff, me personally, right? So for you and your guys, man, how was it for the guys who you love and seniors and left the program finally, man, not getting to spend that last semester with them and then having you guys go home, go virtual versus being on campus in class? How was that for you and your staff and your players, knowing how connected you guys are when you're on campus there at Mount St. Mary's?
Yeah, and that's, our place is a very family-oriented university, a smaller campus where everything's tight-knit, and you have that feel here at the Mount. And then when everything shut down, for us as a staff, we just made the decision to try to be as creative we could from a recruiting standpoint. We started doing a lot of Zooms, and then we really tried to get our guys involved with Zoom calls as well, and just to keep them connected. And the message was, hey, there are going to be teams that come out of this better, and we have to be that group and more connected. So we read books together and had conversations. We had conversations with everything happening in the world with the racial injustice. We just really tried to dive into them and touch on that, that human element, because I think we all were missing that during that time. And then getting them back, it was pure joy. It was joy getting back in the gym and working with them and working towards something. And then to have it shut down, I think that that's tough. We all do well when we have our rhythm and a routine. And you talked about, not being able to see your colleagues. I mean, it's not easy. And especially for young people that are on campus and then they have to be isolated. And, there's a mental health component to this too. So we've been very cognizant of that and really trying to work through it with our guys.
And coach, I feel like for me, I have 6 insurance coaches. I have to be their leaders, right? They go to Morehouse, Spelman, Clark, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw, and Georgia State. So I got 6 different insurance for each one of those schools, right? So I'm having to get credit for myself and see them out at the park and social distance at the park because they're young, coach. My insurance are 18 to 21 years old. I'm 33. I'm kind of like their leader, father figure, point man here in town, trying to explain to them the way of the world. You have the guys same age I do for my insurance, so I feel like it's made me a better leader, a better mentor, a better listener, but everything, because I had to really go beyond myself and not just do radio stuff for me, but actually care about them personally, hear their stories, try to lead them through this weird, tough time we're in. How was it for you trying to lead these young men through all this tough time, knowing what we're dealing with in our country?
Yeah, it's a lot, and I'm thankful to have great leadership from within our program with our players. So we've had some really open discussions. We've had those conversations. We try to connect with them on different levels, as I mentioned earlier. And a lot of it is listening to what, is happening in their worlds. Cause they got a lot, these guys in our program and any one in college athletics right now, it's different, and they don't get the chance to release. They don't get a chance to be with their friends. They don't get a chance to see their parents in person. So with that responsibility it's greater for us as their leaders on campus, the ones that they get to be around and see, and the video has to match the audio. And we're trying to make sure that we're, showing them that, we will get through this, and there are brighter days ahead, and here's how we're going to do it, and try to connect with them as much as we can in person, but also just make sure that they know that you're there for a resource if they need to pick up the phone and call.
Now, Coach, how did you approach the ramp up? Because I know when guys are off for months, they want to get back at it and get back at it hard. So how did you have to kind of get creative with the plans of practice here so they won't go too hard too soon so they don't get hurt? Like you said, you had some injuries already. So how did you kind of manage that process there with the young men wanting to get back at it, what they love in the game that they love?
So it's kind of twofold. You got to slowly build them, and we've had multiple shutdowns, so it's had to happen multiple times. Like when we brought them back here in the summer, we really started working slow with them, and that was from an institutional standpoint. We couldn't do anything except one-on-one workouts. They'd come in and have distance with a coach and build it from there. And then we did group workouts, and from group workouts we built it into half the team, and we put everybody together. And it's the same thing when we got back from winter break, is we slowly built them back up because we didn't want to get injury. And we had a time in our season where we had 30 plus days where we didn't play a game. So, I probably because we had shut down multiple times, looking back at it, we probably should have put the group together earlier to practice more, because we wouldn't play a couple games in New York where we had 2 group practices before we went to play the game. And it's tough. And that's the challenge of the season. And, we don't make excuses, but, there are things that, you try to make the best decisions for their health and safety. You try to make the best decisions for a competitive, advantage. But at the end of the day, you gotta, just follow your gut and make sure you're doing what's best to keep your program moving forward in the right direction.
Yes, indeed. And like you said, you play 11 games. You got a game this week against Sacred Heart. Anthony Tina's team, always a tough team to play. Talk about the matchup with Sacred Heart coming up at your place here Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, so we played 11 games. We've only played 3 home games thus far, and we've had a lot of success at home in the 3 games that we've played. So we love playing in our building, whether there's fans or not. Arena is a terrific place to play. Coach Latina has done a great job this year. I mean, this is a young team for him collectively. He lost a lot of star power last year in the league, and they made a good push. And I think people counted them out, and they've done a nice job of filling in with some really talented guards. They're a very backcourt-driven team. Aaron Clark, who's a really darn good player, and Tyler Thomas are 2 of the elite guards in this league, and they present challenges, and they're volume shooters and guys that like to get them up. We're a defensive unit. We guard, we get after you. If we're able to lock them down and limit them to 1 shot, I really like our chances. But they definitely have guards that play free, play fast, and if we're not locked in, they can make you pay. So a good matchup. One of the things that I've been very fortunate with our team is that we really get after it on the defense end, and that's got to be our staple, not just for this game, but as we close out February into March.
And defense is something that travels, because shots are make or miss, but defense and energy and effort always travel. That's what I love about your team, coach, is that you haven't been able to defend. To me, is so key, because I don't care if you're home or away, that travels, because shots are going to make or miss. That's the way it is. The game of basketball is make or miss, but if you can defend and stop people making shots, you can win a game. So let's talk about where'd your team get that mindset of just defending like crazy the way they do? Because I feel like a lot of young guys don't want to defend. That's not sexy to defend. So, but your team gets out there. So how'd you get your team to get that mindset where we'll beat bulls and stop people and make them a lot difficult every night out in the court we play?
And we're still developing that, but the key is that you got to get selfless guys, and guys that really care about winning, and guys that really are in it for the right reasons. And we're fortunate to have that. And for us, we've really tried to make this a player-driven program and get our guys to take ownership in it. And then, we get after it in practice. We have fun. Competition is high. We don't have the same amount of depth as we had when the season started. And that really helps to play that way, just because, you play your butt off, and then a sub's going to be there for you. So that's something that we have to manage as a staff. But it starts in practice. We try to make things competitive. We try to make sure our guys compete. And, when we have our best performances is when we're guarding at a high level. And, that's like you said, my philosophy was built around that not every day the ball is going to go in the hole. So those days that it doesn't, can you still be in the game? Can you still grind out a win? Can you still come up with a big stop? And, to win on the road, it's never easy. You have to be tough minded. You got to be tough physically, and those teams, end up having a chance to win championships at the end of the day. So that's what we talk to our guys about. And defense, the old cliche, it wins championships. And I've been fortunate to do that at my previous spot, and now we're trying to build that philosophy here that this thing travels. It's going to give us a chance to be in every game, and ultimately we want to be the last one standing. So we got a gritty, tough group that's still building.
Now, Coach, let me ask you about recruiting via Zoom. How's recruiting your 21 classes and 22 classes now via Zoom? Because I know you like to get in front of guys' families, get in the home. So how's it been showing your great, unique campus via Zoom and talking to, getting to know kids via Zoom there? And also, you're not on the road every night watching high school games that you can go home to your family now. You can be a good husband right now. To be on the road all the time. How's that been?
Yeah. I'm sure my wife would tell you she's not mad at this in terms of the amount of time I've been able to spend with the family. But we're still, I have a very driven staff and guys that work extremely hard. And we're out watching film of guys that are playing, guys, film, just trying to see what is out there in the market. The recruiting has changed. The transfer portal is going to be huge this year. So just trying to make sure you're ready for that as well. And you don't know where the scholarships are coming and going now. So that's the challenge of it. But the best thing that we do as a staff is we really try to connect with recruits and their families, and we do it through Zoom, and we do virtual tours. So we've set up a tour on campus where we went and walked through campus and really tried to highlight how beautiful our place is, and we'll do that tour with the family and the recruits, and then we'll do a presentation, and we really just try to make people feel connected to not just the campus, but our staff. And, Zoom is better than the phone, but nothing beats being able to see a recruit and their family and give them a hug and welcome to campus and show them everything, that the Mount has to offer. Because we love when we're able to get recruits on campus, because it is such a nice place.
Now, Coach, let me ask you another question about the games. How's it been playing these games that are back-to-back? I told you about the Hawks playing back-to-back last night after playing the Clippers on Tuesday night, playing the next last night round against in the fourth quarter. So how's it been for you trying to manage your guys health-wise, recovery-wise, playing these back-to-back games, knowing that these guys are not professional like the Hawks are, but they're young men trying to do the best they can?
Bossman, it's tough, man. I mean, it is not, for us, we have guys that play a lot and log a lot of minutes. So like the recovery is so important. We're making sure they're hydrating in between, stretching in between, getting treatment as much as they can. The mindset can't, you blow a team out one night, like everything's thrown out the window. You can't rely on that. It's going to be a brand new game. And that's been shown this year. There's been plenty of blowouts within our league, and the following day, the other team comes back and pulls out a win or a big win. And, the whole, everything gets turned. So you've got to protect against this. You just got to try to make the adjustments you can, whether you win or lose, make the best adjustments in a short amount of time. There's very little sleep for staff during that time. You're wired from the game. You got to prepare for another one tomorrow, the following day, usually less than a 24-hour turnaround. So it's much different. And, the way that it works for our league is we've had to wait a week in between games. So, depending on how that last game ends up, you got to sit on that win, or you got to sit on that loss for a little bit longer. So, trying to keep your guys up, because the one thing that's happened with COVID is the winning and losing, it always matters, but because of everything and there's so much on the line, there's so much that the guys are playing for, and there's not much else released, everything kind of gets exacerbated. So just trying to manage the team in between those games, as well as in between the gap from, the doubleheaders.
Last one for you, Coach, is a little light question for you. What was your quarantine hobby? Mine was playing the guitar, buddy. So I can now string the guitar now. I can do it now. What was your quarantine hobby, man?
Well, my quarantine hobby at the time, it was a lot of basketball. That's what we do. So it was a lot of watching different teams and guys that I know in the profession and the business, as well as watching our team and self-scouting. But, as of late, my wife, she was a little upset during the Christmas holiday because she ordered a Peloton and it didn't show up for quite some time. But now we got a Peloton in the house, and she's been a beast on that thing, and she's kind of hooked me up a little bit too. So every anytime that I'm in here and haven't got a workout, and I'll go get a sweat, and we'll get a little bike in and try to reset the mind. So I'd say the Peloton's the new hobby.
I hear that, Coach. Hey, buddy, thank you for your time as always, Coach. Man, I was good to catch up with you, my brother. Hey, good best luck to Coach Latino's his team this weekend. I know you guys going to be going at it real tough, man, so I'll be looking forward to seeing what happens this weekend, buddy.
You're the man. I appreciate what you do and the covering of college basketball and us. It's always fun to get on and talk. And, hopefully we can revisit this summer. And we've made a good push here and excited about what we're doing with our program. But, Bossman, thank you for everything.
Well, before you go, I know you have a guy on the roster from Atlanta on your roster. Tell us about him real fast, Coach. The guy on the roster from Atlanta you got. I've asked you about him. Tell us about him real fast.
You're gonna break my heart, man. You're gonna break my heart. Dakota LeFew. Dakota's a special talent, and the light is flickering, and you could see the thing start to come on. And he had a huge game versus Merrimack, had 12 points and some really nice assists. Dakota's got such a great feel. We think he's special. We think he's got a chance to be really good. He had 2 huge threes against Central in our win. And then 2 minutes into our second game, he dove for a loose ball and broke his hands. So I think Dakota's season is done for this year, but we see a bright future for him and excited about what he can do for our program going forward. But you can see that light starting to come on, man. We know that he's got a, especially with everyone gifted a year, he's going to have a real special career here at the Mount if he keeps developing at the rate that he is.
Well, Coach, I said down here to get some place like Dakota. Come let me know, man. We'll go out and get something to eat, buddy. I'll take you to one of my nice favorite spots here to get some good tacos, some pizza, whatever you want, man. Seafood, I got you. Anywhere in Atlanta you want to go to eat, brother, I got you, Coach.
That sounds good, man. Well, I'll make it happen, and we'll be down there. We're recruiting a couple young men right now. There's a lot of talent in Georgia, and we were thrilled to get one guy on our roster, and usually when they work out, you get 2. So he's doing a great job, and we're looking forward to getting another one here soon.
All right, Coach. Hey, buddy. Be safe, man. See you real soon, man. Always good talking to you, my brother.
We'll see you, man.
All right, bye now.